Welcome to episode 11 of Out of Bounds. I'm your host, Terry, and today doing powerful movie scenes. So this is some kind of new, but you might not know, but I am a big fan of movies. I do have a channel where I do different movie reviews. I'm a fan of all of it. I'm a fan of the Oscar race, fan of the superhero genre, all those different things. I've been trying to catch up on the classics, but for a lot of different reasons, I enjoy the movies as a fantasy, but I also think it's a great way to portray the human condition and representation and all those different things and just tell stories in a visual medium. And so, not only do I have favorite movies that I think are great, but there are, of course, some movies that might not be great, but can still have powerful scenes. And so sometimes the scene comes together well and says a lot more than the movie might even say. So, this is kind of what this segment might be. I'll pull out different scenes as I kind of, think of them and ones that I want to share with everybody. So anyway, today's scene we're talking about comes from the movie Life, which is the movie starring Eddie Murphy and Martin Lawrence as two people back in, I believe it was like the 50s or 40s, that they were in the South and they got wrongfully accused of a murder they didn't commit, and they were sentenced to life in prison. And so, it's a comedy, but it does have a lot to say. But in particular, I want to focus on one scene, starring, I forgot his last name, but Miguel, who also played Juwanna Mann, but he plays a character called Biscuit. And so in this scene, Biscuit, who is kind of like the feminine one of the group, the one that is kind of what you typically would see in like a stereotypical, prison film where there's somebody that is, kind of, I don't know the word, I don't want to say gay. I mean, he's gay, but too often we confuse gay and feminine, but he's become a real feminine gay person in jail. And so in this scene, Biscuit is, he already got the news that he's released, his sentence is over. And so especially to the main characters who have life in prison, but also to other people, it's like, yeah, it's a great time. You about to get out. Finally, you get to go back home. And so, Biscuit is just kind of sitting there and like everybody's so excited and celebrating, but Biscuit is kind of just like, yeah, okay, kind of aloof. And so they have the thing called the gun line, where if you run past that line, you automatically get shot by the sniper or whoever, one of the wardens or one of the officers. And so while everybody's kind of celebrating, Biscuit's kind of sitting there off to the side and then randomly kind of starts taking off running, and he run passes the gun line and everybody's like, stop, trying to stop him before he gets to the gun line, run past the gun line. And at this point, you've seen the relationship with the warden and the police officers. They're rough on them, but they're kind of used to a family dynamic. And so they don't want to shoot him, especially Biscuit, who's the more feminine one. But then they eventually shoot him and kill him. And so prior to this scene, Biscuit's kind of talking about, I forgot who exactly he was talking to. I think it was one of the main characters, either Eddie Murphy or Martin. And he's talking about how he can't go back to his mama like this, indicating that when he came into jail, he was a normal masculine person as society knows it at that time, and that what he has become is outside of the norm and is too feminine, or is weird, or is different, and that if he goes back home, he's not going to be accepted, or he's going to be ashamed of what he is. And so I don't remember exactly what was said back to him, but it was along the lines of like, dude, you getting out of jail. Don't worry about that. But I thought it was played so beautifully because, Biscuit was dating one of the other, inmates, and I believe it was Bernie Mac's character. And so it was just like, I want to leave him in that relationship, and then I don't want to go home, like kind of like this. I'm different than when I went into jail. And so it was kind of an emotional scene in a comedy. But you think about what that actually says. And so, especially if you're talking about the episode I had before, talking about masculinity and femininity and that spectrum of masculine and feminine, and this idea of what a man is supposed to be, what a woman is supposed to be. And I think that definitely plays a part in it, where it's like, I'm not a real man. Even though they don't say it, I'm not a real man. This isn't what a man is supposed to be. I still think that outside of that, you have this idea that I went in as one person and I'm kind of ashamed to come out as a different person. But at the same time, you got to think there's people that go into prison and they kind of come out where they might be a little smarter, or, might be a little more conscious, might be a little more savvy, might got a degree while they was in there, either high school or more. And people look up to that. And so it's all a lot of different complexities, but it is what society views as valuable and good. But then what do you personally view as valuable and good as well? Cause somebody might personally not care about that education or anything else. But even though society might tell you that's a good thing, but society tells you, especially at that time, like being gay is immoral, is wrong, is not a good thing. A man should be a man. And then you got to think about what he thinks and what his family thinks about him and what the family values are and how much it says that even though he could be free in jail or free from jail and back into the real world, not only would he rather stay in jail, he'd rather be dead than to go home and face his family the way he is. How incredibly powerful that statement is. Without really talking about it a lot, the movie makes that statement with that scene. And so to just think about what has to go on, and it's a different time, so some people might dismiss it, but you're talking about even up to now. Any adult right now or young teenager right now, we can think, first of all, I don't want to belittle, in 2019, there's people that feel that way. But you think about even 10 years ago, how even stronger those feelings might have been, where it's just like, I'd rather not be here than to face everybody and show them who I really am. And there's so much, definitely with religion, but there's even more with society and just the patriarchy and all those and gender roles and all these things that people form their opinion on how you look at life and how it's supposed to go. But I just feel like as humans, most of us capable of empathy, how do you look at that? I wouldn't even say that he's right or anybody else is right. But how do you look at that and not feel some type of moment of reflection to say, wow, what do you have to go through to feel that way? And it doesn't have to be your sexuality or, the masculine feminine thing, but just yourself. Imagine any part of you that you had that was so taboo that you had to hide it to the point you'd rather be dead than to let people know that's how you are. Think of some mundane, and I always kind of go back to this, but think of some, because I love sports. Some mundane is me being a football lover, because I coach football and I love football and I draft football, all that. If being football was so taboo that I'd rather die than let people know that, and to think about how essential that is to my life, and that I would have to hide it on that level. Again, it doesn't put you in their shoes. It doesn't, even have to change the way you think, but at least it gives you, I feel like that has to give you a moment of reflection. And especially in a comedy with Eddie Murphy, Martin Lawrence, it was such a powerful scene, I think, to really reflect on the human condition, I think. So anyway, go to the comment section. Let me know what you think about that scene. Did you see the scene? Have you seen the movie? What do you think about it? All those different things. Share it around. Get the conversation started. Thumbs up, subscribe, and until next episode.